Have you ever wanted to explore outer space? Find out how close you can come with the SFA Astronomy program on this edition of Purple Pride. Welcome to Purple Pride. I'm Wes Henderson. Today we'll take a look at the astronomy program here at SFA and some of the facilities that are available to students and the public. My guest today is astronomy professor Dr. Dan Bruton. Welcome, Dr. Bruton. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Let's go and get started with it. Now we're going to learn more about one of the SFA facilities. And so I wanted to know is how did the SFA astronomy program get started?
To me, the astronomy program got started in 1976 when a major research telescope came to the campus. It's an 18-inch telescope, and there were certainly astronomy courses before that time, but to have a big research telescope on campus, I think that's a good start to an astronomy program.
All right. What type of classes can students take in the astronomy program?
Well, there's three main classes in the astronomy program. Astronomy 305, which is modern and classical astronomy. There is Astronomy 305, which is observational astronomy, and then there is Astronomy 335, which is astrophysics.
All right. And as being a student, what kind of topics will you engage as just being in these classes?
Well, in the first course, it's pretty much for all majors, including non-science majors. So we like to say that in the Astronomy 105 class, we cover the entire universe in one course. So it's kind of a survey course, cover everything from star charts to galaxies and the expansion of the universe. And in the second course, which that's really for our majors, Astronomy 305, you get a lot of telescope time. So you get to use the telescopes at the research observatory and also learn how to use CCD cameras as well. And then in the last course, it's more of a theoretical course. It's Astronomy 335, and you learn about stellar structure, evolution of the universe, and so forth.
All right, those sounds very interesting courses. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to take a look at one of the astronomy facilities here at SFA, the observatory, from the director of Dr. Norm Markworth. What is an observatory?
Well, an observatory is a place where telescopes are aimed at the sky. It can also mean the dome that houses the telescope. So I call the entire site the observatory. Some people say we've got several observatories.
How was the observatory started?
Way back in the 1960s, the physics department at that time wanted an astronomy program. They had a grant which allowed them to buy some equipment, and they wanted to buy a small 10-inch telescope to put someplace on campus. As part of the grant, they got to tap into surplus equipment for the government, and they found that a 30-inch telescope mirror was available. And so they kind of horse traded it for the 10-inch telescope they were going to buy, and then they were looking around for a site. And the first site they picked, they went to the president at the time, Dr. Steen, and he said, boys, that's a fine site, but that's where the 50-yard line's going to be. And you know football wins in Texas, so we couldn't go there. We finally ended up here on the SFA farm. We've been here since about 1976.
What types of instruments are at the observatory?
Two research telescopes, an 18-inch telescope, which is actually an antique. It was built for use by NASA to help find landing sites on the surface of the moon for the Apollo program. And when that research was done, we inherited the telescope and put it into service here. And our 41-inch telescope is the biggest telescope on site. It's custom made. I built that telescope along with our machinist back in 1983.
What is studied at the observatory?
Anything that involves pointing at the sky. We do anything from just sky familiarization, familiarize people with constellations, to actively looking through our small student instruments at the sky for student projects. We use larger size instruments for doing some of the research. We basically have two kinds of research programs going. One is an asteroid search program, and we're happy to say we found and have been able to name a couple of asteroids. The first one is asteroid Nacogdoches. is out there floating between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. And the second one that we were able to name is SFASU, SFASU. And that program continues. Our other major research effort is in variable star research. That's my particular end. We use mostly the 41-inch telescope for that, and in particular we're looking at close eclipsing binary stars, stars that orbit one another in, let's say, 6 to 8 hours.
Who works at the observatory?
We are a research and teaching facility. So 4 nights of the week, our Astronomy 105 classes are out here, and they're taught and manned by graduate students. And the graduate students also perform research along with the faculty.
When can the public come to the observatory?
Well, we open the observatory for public nights about 2 or 3 times a semester, and those events are sponsored by the Society of Physics students. Public sessions are dominated by sky familiarization, showing people the constellations, showing them the research telescopes, and allowing them the opportunity to look through a good-sized telescope.
Where is the observatory?
We've got a pretty complete map on our webpage, which is easy to find. Just look for the physics website, physics and astronomy website, and we've got a link there for the observatory with a map. But we're located basically 11 miles north of the campus on the SFA bee farm.
Is anything new coming to the observatory?
I did a study a few years ago of the problem of light pollution in Nacogdoches County. And as you might expect, right along Highway 259, there are more lights than any place else in the county. So if we could find a site, either far east or far west in the county, and get it donated, or maybe be able to afford to buy such land, I'm really interested in putting a remote robotic telescope on a dark site.
What is the best part about the observatory?
It's fun. You get to play with cool toys, and that's why we do astronomy.
Well, the observatory looks like a very extraordinary place. Dr. Bruin, can you give us some specific instructions on how to actually get to the observatory?
Yes, it's about 11 miles north of campus on Highway 259, and there's a bee farm out there, the SFA bee farm, and there's a sign on the right. You turn right there at the bee farm, and it's right out there in the middle of the bee farm. There's a blacktop road. You have to take a turn toward the right on the fork in the road, and then you'll see a couple of domes up on top of the hill.
All right, so when you get there, what exactly do you do at the observatory?
Well, I conduct research with my students. So I work with undergraduate and graduate students on research projects, and the 2 projects I'm focused on right now, one of them is the search for minor planets. So we're looking for asteroids, new asteroids that have yet to be discovered. And then we're also working on eclipsing binary stars. So we're studying stars that are so close to each other that one is blocking the light from another star. So we're monitoring their brightness, trying to understand how they evolve.
All right. Now let's hear from one of the students, the astronomy students, about his experiences at the observatory.
In class, we looked through many different telescopes, such as the 41, 18, and the classroom size 10 telescopes. And also, we chart many things on star charts. We also learned how to use the star charts to locate where we are, and relative directions such as north, south, east, west. We also learned about the phases of the moon, such as like the new moon, full moon, and when those occur, and what significance that really has on the world. It's really cool. I thought it had been horrible, but it's a lot of fun looking at all the stars and everything.
The observatory is not the only place on campus where you can see the stars. Next, we'll hear from Professor Michaels, who is the director of the planetarium. What is a planetarium?
A planetarium is a creation whose purpose is to serve the cause of astronomical enlightenment, which means primarily its purpose is education.
What is the planetarium used for?
We use the planetarium for our astronomy program, which includes our Astronomy 105, which is an introductory program. We use it in both lecture and lab. And then we also use the planetarium for our observational astronomy course, which is Astronomy 305. Now also, we do a lot of public outreach. We have probably several thousand school children that come visit the planetarium every year. And almost every Friday night, we have public shows that anybody can come to. The ticket admission is just $2. We just pay it at the door. You don't have to get them in advance. Just come up and we'll let you in.
What can people see when they come to the planetarium?
Well, generally in our programs, there's two parts. The first part, we will cover some specific topic, maybe on black holes or planets. It's a very entertaining multimedia top program. And then after that, we will look at the sky, and we'll use the star machine to do that and give a very good tour of what you can see from East Texas right now.
What types of technologies are used at planetarium?
Our primary machine right here next to me is the optomechanical star machine, which recreates a very, very nice sky, and it can show you the sky from anywhere on the Earth, any time of the year. And then accompanying that, around the room we have over 30 different projectors, which is the multimedia part of the program. Most of them are a little bit old technology. They're slide projectors and video projectors, and they're fed by various devices.
Is there anything new coming to the planetarium?
In the last probably 10 or 15 years, there's been a really big change in the planetary technology. We're going away from these optomechanical projectors you see here onto the digital systems, which can create a really immersive environment where you can feel like you're inside whatever place we want to take you, whether it's on the moon or in a star cluster or wherever.
Who works at the planetarium?
I'm the planetarium director, and we also have 4 student workers. They are presenters, and they're trained, and usually they have some background in astronomy.
Where is the planetarium?
The planetarium is located almost directly between the new student recreation building and the library. The building is the Math Planetarium building, and it's on campus, and a lot of people confuse our facility with the observatory.
What is the best part about the planetarium?
The planetarium is a very relaxed environment for learning about the universe. So if you have interest or been hearing things about what's going on, not only astronomically but also in the space sciences, this is the place to come. And we can answer your questions and hopefully provide you some entertainment as well. I guess my favorite part will be the starry sky. That's what a planetarium can do best, is recreate the night sky, something we can't see very well anymore, especially in large cities because of all the lights. But the planetarium star projector can give you a good view of what the sky really looks like.
How can people find out more information about the planetarium?
There's a couple of ways. You can call our Department of Physics and Astronomy at 468-3001, or you can visit our website, and that's at www.physics.sfasu.edu.
I'm here with Dr. Bruton again for SFA's astronomy program. So, Dr. Bruton, how does the SFA's astronomy program compare to other universities that do astronomy?
I think the best way to compare our program with other programs and other universities is access. Our students have easy access to the observatory. So at other universities like UT Austin, students take classes in Austin and then have to drive all the way out to, say, McDonnell Observatory in West Texas to use the research facilities. But here, students just have a short drive, just 11 miles north of campus, to get to the observatory. And also, we get undergraduate students as well as graduate students involved in research.
Well, now you can definitely know you can explore the universe here at SFA. With Dr. Bruton, I'm Wes Henderson, and this is another edition of Purple Pride.